I hope you're all very well. I'm finally back on doing a video, and I was going to do a whole bunch of videos with all of the cases that have come about and that are in court and everything, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to do them one by one, because the Libby and Abby one, for starters, is very, very interesting. And if you haven't seen all of my old ones, go back and have a look at those. But I'm going to go through it again and show you why I think the defence's 136-page document claiming that white nationalist, Odinist, neo-Nazis killed 2 Caucasian young girls is a load of rubbish, according to myself. That's my opinion based on the chart, based on everything I've seen over the years. It's also my opinion based on the fact that the defence just has to come up with something. But also, the charts that I did 5 years ago and a little after that, before we knew anything about Richard Allen or anything about anybody, the chart pointed exactly to where Richard Allen works. So to me, I've never had an instance or a case or a chart or anything that points to an area where a perpetrator is and it hasn't been that perpetrator. So there's many different reasons why I don't think Odinists were involved, and I don't even care that there's a 136-page document that outlines it very clearly. I do not believe it. And as you would have noticed in the quick beginning little bit, the map shows it very clearly along with the chart. So we're going to have a look at that again. So for those that didn't have a look before and don't know, this is now done for 213 because there's a little bit of discrepancy with the 207 chart. It really doesn't change very much at all. In fact, it's the same. So if you've looked at the 207 chart and think, no, it can't be right because it's not that time, if it was 213, we still have the same placements. So the girls themselves were represented by Cancer on the ascendant, and the perpetrator is represented by Capricorn. So the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. The ruler of the girls, Cancer, is the moon. So first of all, the very first thing that we see quite often is 29 degrees when something's going wrong, and very often it's the moon. So the Cancer being the ruler of the girls, and then the moon being in its natural 4th house at 29 degrees. That's not good. We know it's not good, but that's just to show you anyway. So the perpetrator is Saturn. Now, if you go through my other videos, you'll see that I've done a profile of what somebody Saturnian looks like, the different things that I thought would that they needed to look out for, and a lot of it actually was exactly what they did need to look out for. So again, go back and have a look. But right now, we're going to just have a look at, we're going to go onto scribble maps. We're going to put Saturn onto the map so you can see how it goes to CVS, the place where Richard Allen worked. And we'll have a look at a general map as well, just to show you that that is, in case, the truth. So let's have a look. Okay, so here's the first map that I did in July 2017, and please, by all means, go back and check. Here's the bridge and how we start in a smaller area, and this is how far I went out. So this line here and this line here is the descendant, which is the perpetrator line, and Saturn, so but the ruler of the perpetrator. And as you can see, it's formed a wedge here, and I've put 2 circles, one here and one here. This one here is just off, well, goes through West Main Street, and it's just a little shy of CVS. So on the outside of this line here is his work. Now, if we have a look at this one, here's the bridge here. There's some directions and everything there, but ignore that. If we were to go as the crow flies, we'd go straight there. There's CVS, just off there's Old State Road 25 going into West Main Street, and that's exactly where it is there. So again, keep these in mind. And if you watch my old videos, you'll see that I have explained East Main Street, West Main Street, all the streets around here where I actually thought he lived. So I did make a mistake and he actually worked there, but same as far as I can see. So let's have another look at the other one just to see. So really have a look at this, the area here. And again, the chart that I did in July 2017, Old State Road 25 comes around this corner, West Main Street, and this is the area that I've circled. So it's literally maybe a block or less away from where he actually worked. Now, in my mind, and through all the experience I've had and done with forensic astrology, I've never ever had a case where something points to someone's house or work or the perpetrator or the victim in that instance, and it be the wrong person. So unless for some reason astrology works in the sense that the whole world thinks that this is going on, so it must be right, and then it somehow what goes there, that doesn't feel right to me. It goes there because that's when the chart was erected for the last time stamp that we have. So, number one, to me, that rules out other people. Now, I'm just going to have a little chat about how I feel about the Odinists' view. Well, not their view, my view on white nationalist, Odist, neo-Nazis killing 2 girls and not taking any credit, not doing anything that's ritualistic, sacrificial, or anything like that. So let's have a little chat about that too. Okay, so while I've got the chart up, we can have a little chat about the defence's new theory. So the chart itself even shows why the defense has done this and picked neo-Nazis, Aryans, that type of thing. And the reason being is here in the 10th house, Mars in Aries in the 10th house, and that's in the public. So to me, it's a good story. Lawyers are actually represented by the 7th house. So we actually have, even though it's quite a wide orb, we've got a square between Pluto in the 7th house and Mars. Pluto and Mars are very, very harsh planets, and it just, to me, shows the defense using some type of really, Pluto itself basically is like a sacrificial, ritualistic type of planet. Not that it happens very often. So we've got that sitting in the 7th house of the lawyers, going to Mars in Aries, and Mars in Aries is very Aryan, very neo-Nazi-like, white nationalist, that type of thing. So to me, it's just something to tell the public. And then that makes me think that if the defense is just putting out this information, I mean, it's caused so much confusion. There are so many people now that think that Richard Allen is not guilty just because of what the defense has brought out. But let's be realistic. The defense is going to bring out whatever they can because they're defending him. They want to try and get him off. The whole thing about sacrificial ritualism just doesn't sit right with this case. Firstly, why would somebody like that kill 2 young white girls on a school day in the middle of nowhere and not want credit for it? it's not an act of terrorism. And usually if somebody is in that sort of group and they want to do things like that, it's like an act of terrorism. Ritualism and sacrificial killings just don't happen as often as people assume they do. So that's one thing. Another thing is the runes or apparent runes that they found on the bodies of Libby and Abby and on the tree don't represent anything to do with Odinism or sacrifice or anything like that. Now, I've been watching a fair bit of information, videos and whatever I can about Odinists, and it's a weird religion and I'd never heard of it before, or not religion, whatever it may be. Well, it's a religion. Also, by the way, Neptune on the MC in Pisces as well sort of alludes to that. So this chart's interesting because not only does it show us everything that's happened, it also is showing us what the defense is trying to go for. And we don't necessarily look at these things and go, oh, well, that must be true. In my first profile of Bridge Guy, it was that he has possibly religious delusions, goes to church, those types of things. And I think we're going to find that, but we're not going to know that, obviously, unless he does go to trial. So I really do hope he does go to trial. I don't think the defence is going to get away with this. And then possibly we'll find out whether or not that he had religious delusions or something along those lines. This chart also shows that one individual was responsible. There's no indication that I can see whatsoever that two or more people were involved in this. And let's be realistic, if more than one person was involved in it, I'm pretty sure somebody would have said something by now. Like, I can't imagine that there's a whole group of white nationalists that would want to be involved in this and try and get away with it for 5 years. It just doesn't make sense. Another thing that doesn't make sense to me is that people are really assuming that it was definitely more than one person, because how could he possibly get two girls at once? Well, if you've got a gun in your hand, you can do anything. If you've got a gun in your hand pointing to a 13 and a 14-year-old girl that have no idea what's going on, they're not going to run. They're not going to do anything. They're going to do as they're told. So it makes perfect sense to me that one person did this. Something that I do note as well is, and it's been I've been thinking about it for a while, if Richard Allen actually does go to trial, I really do think it's very possible that we're going to find out that he's committed crimes before. Because I think, as I've said before, taking two girls at once is very, very brazen. But very, very possible by one person. So I think the confusion, or what we would see, and this is also represented with Mercury in the 8th house, which Mercury represents a couple of people, and the 8th house is death. To me, that is, and the end of the matter is Virgo, so that rules Mercury. So the end of the matter, which I believe will be like the end of the trial or the end of this Odinist stuff, and then going into the reality of it, will show us that the person that killed Libby and Abby probably has done this before. And something else that also stands out to me is all of the documents that were released when Richard Allen was actually arrested. He confessed to it at least 5 or 6 times. He apparently confessed to his wife as well while he was in jail. And there's a reason why they got him. Maybe there's no DNA. I think there possibly is DNA, and I've popped in the asteroid DNA here. It's sitting in the 7th house of the perpetrator. So I feel as though that there possibly is some DNA, but we're just not privy to it at the moment. This is the back end of my YouTube channel, and here are the videos, and here are the dates that they were published. So please, by all means, have a look at those and you'll see exactly what I've just been talking about right then. So that's my opinion only, based on what I see and what I have seen from the chart for so many years, and all the information and everything that we've learned along the way. Obviously, there's a lot of weird and strange discrepancies and things in the document that was brought out. I am very interested to understand the witnesses, why there were two sketches, and I'm going to show you very briefly at the end of this video something that I found. I was pointed to another person's video that showed that there was possibly a Photoshop on the bridge, and immediately I thought, oh, that's ridiculous. And then I was looking through news videos on the case 3 to 5 years ago and saw it myself. So I'm going to put that at the end of this so you can have a look at. Let me know what you think. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on that we don't know, but just from looking at the chart for all of these years, seeing that the directions and the mileage and everything is very accurate, I would be very, very surprised if it wasn't one perpetrator, and especially if it wasn't Richard Allen. I mean, what are the chances that the perpetrator ruler went to his work? Very, very slim. Unless, of course, and it's, could well be, unless he's a part of some Odinist group, but I don't think so. I really just think this is a defense thing, and I think that everybody's latched onto it. The defense are probably rubbing their little hands together going, yes, we've made the public believe it. And if the public believe it, the jury might believe it. So I hope that's not the case, but we will have to wait and see until all this starts to come out, and I will be keeping an eye on it. So I'll leave it there for now because I'm going to try and shorten my videos a little to keep the interest up. So I'll leave that one there for now. If you've got any questions, just write in the comments and I'll answer as best as I can. If you like this, please like it. Subscribe if you want to. I don't really mind. Do what you want to do. And the next video I'm going to do is Suzanne Morphew. And just quickly, I'll just give you a little rundown about that. We've done a lot of charts on Suzanne Morphew because we had a lot of times, different times that there was phone pings, phone calls, Barry went to work, Barry did this, Barry got arrested, blah, blah. I looked through all of the charts, and the one in particular, when Barry got arrested, the IC, the end of the matter, this one down here, pointed exactly to where she was found. And that was degrees and direction. I didn't use that. I actually used the ruler of the ascendant for Suzanne. But again, that was a long time ago, and I've learned a lot more now. So now, and as a bit of a lesson to others as well, don't always rely on the ascendant and the descendant and just their rulers for directions. It's really important to look at that IC, the MC, the rulers obviously, and also that moon as well. So, don't just stick to the rulers of the AC and DC because it doesn't always work. Obviously, though, in this instance, it has worked because the ruler of the DC, Saturn, has pointed exactly to where Richard Allen worked at the CVS. Okay, have a little look at this really quick clip that I've got next. See what you reckon. See if it changes things. I can't fathom why or how or what's going on, but I'll leave you to have a look at it. Until next time, when we look at Suzanne Morphew, which should be in a couple of days. Thank you so much, everyone, for waiting for me. I'm doing better. time doesn't heal, but time goes on. And when time goes on, things just get a little bit easier. So thankfully, the passion's coming back. I actually thought that astrology was a big no-no for me. It felt as though I was attracting bad things, attracting death. And then I realised that that's pretty much a silly thing to think, and this is what I am destined to do. So I'm coming back, and with a vengeance. We're going to have a lot of charts coming up, so keep an eye on things, and I hope everybody's really well. You all take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.